Hi, my name is Natalie Smith, and today I'm going to be talking about transitioning a loved one to an assisted living facility. An assisted living facility is a type of long-term care home. Typically, the age range can be from 55 up. Um, the most common types of long-term care homes that are typically known by most of the population are either nursing homes or assisted living facilities. The main difference between an assisted living facility and a nursing home is that the care is not as intense. When it comes to the healthcare that is provided there. Um, Assisted living facilities still do have 24/7 care with healthcare professionals, nurses, doctors, and other physicians that are around. Some even have physical therapy classes and set times for patients to come and see them in the actual facility itself. A lot of assisted living facilities have also implemented memory care centers, especially with the rise of dementia and Alzheimer's disease in the growing population. Assisted living really focuses on letting the seniors have most of their autonomy over their day and just be there to help with daily activities that they may struggle with. That can range from needing help with their prescriptions, managing their medications, and can go all the way to needing help getting dressed in the morning. The 24/7 care is also available for emergencies. Most places either have their seniors wear some type of monitor around their neck, like a life alert that is connected to their system specifically, so that the staff can be notified if something is wrong, if they had a fall, most likely. One of the main downsides to an assisted living facility or other long-term care facilities is that they can be a little bit expensive. Even though they can be expensive, there's a ton of benefits. I don't know if a million, but there's a bunch of benefits. So, there's a lot of socialization opportunities, and this is huge for the elderly population because most of them are living alone. Um, and they just aren't going out into public anymore because they don't have the means to. They can't facilitate going by themselves anymore. So these facilities have activities, they do game nights, they do movie nights, and just a lot of them have shared dining rooms. So there will be certain set times for a certain group of people to go at this time and one at this time. And they sit at assigned tables, at least one that my grandmother's in, they sit at assigned tables and assigned seats with the same people every single day and they talk to them. They also offer services like housekeeping and laundry. I know some places, um, allow the seniors to do it themselves, but if they want somebody else to do that for them, it's not a problem, and they'll happily do it for them. Another great benefit of living in a long-term care facility like assisted living is personalized care. The staff gets to know the senior and what they prefer and what they need to live their best life possible while they're under the roof of the facility. They also provide a lot of intellectual stimulation, like I said, with the game nights. A lot of them tend to be puzzles, maybe some word games, bingo, just something to help keep them stimulated and help avoid that cognitive decline that comes with age. A large issue for the elderly population as well is, their nutrition. It's a lot harder to make a big meal, um, for themselves, especially if it's like they used to make meals for their family and now it's just them and they don't know how to portion that out, or they're just tired and they can't do it, they don't understand how to use the appliances. Assisted living facilities provide their meals for them, and they always have a registered dietitian or nutritionist make sure that the seniors are getting everything that they need. And along the same lines, better health management, the staff there, the nurses, can tell what they think that senior may need, if it's physical therapy, if it's maybe a quick check-in and just check their vitals every now and then more than others. Um, and then, of course, the medication management, just to ensure that the senior is getting their medication as prescribed, when it's prescribed, before or after a meal, so that the senior no longer has to worry about that and that they can be directed by the staff there. There are some signs that you can see in your loved one if it might be time to start beginning the process to transition. The main one is mostly just inability to handle their day-to-day activities. You see that their house is messier than it usually is. Um, Bathing is more difficult, not getting dressed all day, not going out anymore. Decreased hygiene is a huge one. they're not bathing properly, they're not taking care of their hair like they used to, maybe their nails have gotten really long, um, they're just not bathing as they should be, as frequently as they should be. There's also unsafe and unaccommodating living situations. So they might have stairs and they no longer can really go up and down them like they used to. Or there's a lot of rugs and things that they can trip on, and there's no handlebars that they can grab to like walk up the stairs or walk down the hallway. Or maybe they even had started needed a wheelchair or a walker and they no longer they can't take it up the stairs. Their hallway isn't wide enough, they keep banging into things. And then I would very similarly, frequent injuries, mostly falls, trips, things like that, falling in the shower, there's no handlebars or there's no mat down. And then we have not taking medication as prescribed, so not forgetting medication, taking too many at one time, not following the directions and taking them without food when they should be taken with food, or taking them at inopportune time so that the effects won't hit them correctly. And then another big one is increased self-isolation. They're not coming to family events. They don't call you as much as they usually do. And when they do, you can kind of hear that they just sound kind of down. And then we have declined interest in hobbies. So if they were a big puzzler, you haven't heard them talk about a puzzle at any time recently, or they just kind of seem disengaged in everything that you try to talk to them about. And then another big one is a inability to use appliances. This is still prevalent even when some people go to an assisted living facility. My grandmother accidentally lit her microwave on fire and got it taken away, which was we knew that when she could no longer use her microwave at her home, that was a big sign of, hey, it's time to go somewhere where they can help you and make your meals for you, because she was mostly just using her microwave for her meals. And if she can no longer do that, then how is she going to eat? So that was a big one for us personally. So there are some steps to take once you kind of make the decision for it's time to move them to an assisted living facility. Always, always, always tour multiple facilities. Different ones offer different things, different amenities. The pricing is different at different places depending on the level of care that you think your loved one might need. And you can also speak to your loved one's healthcare team. They will give you some recommendations on where to go and what to do and to take those steps to find a place that is best for them. They'll probably have a couple connections as well that can really get you in somewhere quickly if you need to go quickly, or they'll have some experience. Some of them, even some physicians even work at more than one place. They'll work in their office and then also at an assisted living facility. So they'll have some good insight there. And then I would say the next step is to start downsizing their belongings, make the choices between what's going and what's staying. It's always helpful to, if there's a lot of sentimental items, try and make sure those go to family so that the loved one doesn't feel um, nervous about that, because stress is a huge issue in this situation. But it's great to, once you're downsizing, you can kind of create your move-in checklist. So just everything that you need to have, all the forms you need to have, all the items that they need. Some places provide certain things, and some places need you to bring a certain list of items. Like they might need their own toilet paper, they might need their own tissues, but at another place, they might already have that for them as just one of their amenities that they offer. And then I would create a move-in plan or like a timeline just so your loved one is able to visualize what's happening and when these things should be done by. Um, it can change, it can be different. I would recommend like a calendar, maybe put tentative dates and just communicate with your loved one that things could change, but this is what we're looking at right now. This is when we're hoping that this is done, just so that they can understand. I would still do a lot of things behind the scenes, especially if you're dealing with someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, as change can be very overwhelming for them. And then just communicate with the staff at the facility once you've picked one, just to let them know about your loved one, if there's any specifics that they need to know about their attitude or their disease if they have some, or just their personality so they can get to know them and maybe better care for them. And then before the move, I would also recommend updating documents. This can be a do not resuscitate order if your loved one so wishes. A living will would be a great thing to do at this time, making sure Social Security is up to date, checking on bills that you may need to cancel, check on finances, make sure that they know the logins for everything, and just streamline it a little bit. I would also, at this point, recommend probably a power of attorney in case something is unfortunately to go wrong and the loved one is unable to make the decision themselves. that would probably be a good time to start looking at that. And just some things to remember while you are moving your loved one in, starting this transition, thinking about this transition. Be mindful about the stress placed on the senior, especially like I said with Alzheimer's and dementia. It can really stress like this can really trigger their symptoms, and we want to avoid that as much as possible. So there may be some things you have to do behind the scenes without them knowing, um, but just remember that you're doing what's best for them. You've made this decision, you've researched this decision, and it will be a tough process at times, but at other times it'll be great. I know for us, my grandmother was a hoarder, so we could never visit her. It was very hard. She didn't let people in her house. But now that she's moved, my family gets to go see her all the time, and we all can go at different times. It doesn't just have to be for a family event. It can just be for a quick lunch or for just to say hello, and we don't have to worry about her being in a mood and not letting us inside because our house is a mess. So try to look on the bright side as much as you can. It will be difficult. Um, you have made a choice to benefit them, not only their health, but just the rest of their time that they have here. And then always remember that change affects those with Alzheimer's and dementia more severely than it does other people. So take it slower, take it kind of gauge it with your loved one. I know people are at different times of their diagnosis, so it's very difficult. And then just be flexible. Things will change. You are dealing with a facility that most likely has a lot of staff and a lot of other residents. Um, be patient with your loved one and especially yourself. You are doing the best that you can to your ability. Um, as long as you follow the steps that your specific facility has placed for you and you've done everything that they have said. Sometimes it just takes longer to process things, and that's just part of a business, unfortunately. So just be patient with yourself and just stay on top of it. You can do it and it'll pay off. And then stand firm in your decision to do this. Um, your loved one at first might be a little apprehensive, but you are doing what's best for them, and you would know what's best for them, especially if you've tried to be the one to take care of them and then realize that you can no longer do it and you're starting to grow some resentment, and you don't want to end it on a resentful note. It's probably best to move them into a facility at that point because then you can enjoy the time together instead of being the caregiver yourself, especially if you have a job or have kids or have other responsibilities besides your loved one, especially if you know that you're not giving them the best care. Um, as someone like a facility would who has trained staff, and that's okay. They're trained for things like this. They have certain um, frameworks in their head that they've used to help those with different diseases, especially those that like to repeat themselves because they forget or they tell stories over and over again. The staff is trained on how to handle that and how to redirect the conversation appropriately. So, thank you so much. That's all I have for you today. I hope that if you are thinking about moving a loved one or talking to a loved one about possibly moving, that it goes best as possible. There's a lot of online resources available, and just talk to your loved one's physicians. They'll have some great insight for you. Thank you.